Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And this time I want all the smoke. And I want it right now. So if you're going to give it, bring it hard. Because guess what? I'm going to give it right back. Now, there are a lot of people currently pushing the idea that it's okay to go ahead and pirate Metroid Dread. And I'm not talking about emulating. I'm not talking specifically about emulating. I am talking about using emulators to take games that you don't own and play them that are currently on the market and available to people to purchase. I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with that in the least bit. And I'm not cool with Kotaku and PC Gamer subtly pushing the idea that it is okay to pirate this game. Now, I don't care if people play these games on emulators. I really personally don't. What I care is that, one, you have the hardware. Two, you have the software. I mean, like you purchased it. Because the only legitimate way I could see anyone playing this stuff on an emulator on their PC is if they actually bought the Switch and then they bought Metroid Dread. Guess what? You would need your Switch in order to dump the files to your PC. You would need that. That would be a requirement if you legitimately did it yourself. I mean, you'd also have to find a way to break the encryption of the game so it could run on the emulators, because that's what I remember hearing about it. Which, that is the legal area where you would have a problem when it comes down to legal terms of the software. You're not supposed to break the encryption. But I'm far more accepting of that than someone going and downloading the user emulator and then downloading Metroid Dread off of some website. I'm far more lenient to the idea of somebody breaking the encryption to play it on an emulator on their PC because they actually purchased the game and they purchased the console and then they hooked their console up to their PC and dumped the files from the game to their PC. I am far more willing to forgive that than someone just going and pirating the game, especially for Metroid, because it's a series that hasn't had a new entry, and I mean new as in not a retelling or a remake, but a brand new entry for some time as far as the 2D games are concerned. Now, if you just want to say it hasn't had a new it's had a new game recently in the last few years, yes, that is true, but that game didn't sell very well. And one of the reasons I know it didn't sell well is because people were playing the damn game on emulators on their PC instead of freaking purchasing it. That, and also because, AM2R came out and people were mad about that because Nintendo put a cease and desist out on AM2R knowing that they had Samus Returns coming out, and that was a whole big thing that blew up. And I'm always going to be anti-piracy as far as new stuff is concerned. You should not be pirating new games. No. If a game is old and it's unavailable to be purchased by the people who own the rights to it, have at it. I'm at least in that situation. I consider it far more viable an option because, hey, either way, at that point, the companies aren't going to be making money back off of it unless they start instituting their own used game policies, which I talked about years ago, saying companies need to do that, but they don't. So since they don't institute their own used games policies, they don't make money off of the used games market, and then you have scalpers or people who happen to have a game that is a rare find, and they will jack the price up on it on purpose to see who they can get to pay for it. In those situations, yeah, have at it. Do the emulation yourself. Emulate, find the game on some ROM site, download it, emulate it, cool, whatever. Because nobody's making money off of it. Nobody's benefiting off of it that put the effort into making it. At that point, do whatever you want. But I am not for, like I said, especially for Metroid and Kotaku. But like I swear, somebody had posted that they had said somewhere in their article, "Thank God for pirates," because again, Metroid Dread is running pretty well on Yuzu out the gate. Okay, cool, no issue with that. I'm not mad at that. In fact, that's actually pretty surprising. And you know what? I get that that's news. That's a subject that people are probably interested in. But you can't talk about that and then subtly hint toward piracy. You just can't do those two things at the same time. And no, emulating is not pirating. They are not the same thing, because if they were the same thing, then that would mean that Nintendo couldn't have an NSO. That would also mean that Microsoft could not have Game Pass or allow you to run your older 360 and OG Xbox games on the Xbox One or the Xbox Series platforms. You wouldn't be able to do it. And PS4 would not be able to be backwards compatible with not PS4. PS5 would not be able to be backwards compatible with PS4. And you also wouldn't have been able to have a service like PS Now. You wouldn't actually be able to have streaming services at that point, actually, because it would be very much almost the same thing as pirating. Unless those platforms literally owned everything that was on their services, and that's not always the case. Man, it's exhausting to see that this level of stupidity is floating about. And then there's people who say, well, if Nintendo won't give us better hardware, then we have every right to pirate this game and play it how we want to. No, you don't. You really, legitimately don't. And again, I'm not coming out against people that are purchasing the game and the hardware and then dumping the files themselves. I'm not coming out against you people, because you're doing it the most legitimate way possible. So, like, if you've purchased the game and you want to run it on an emulator on your PC, again, have at it. I mean, Nintendo may not agree with that, but if that's what you want to do, you've already bought the product, and you're not ruining the experience for others to be able to see a sequel to this game, cool. Go for it. But I just like the mental gymnastics people go through to justify doing something that they know is wrong and is going to hurt the industry and is going to hurt the developers and is going to hurt the people that want to see the franchise continue and they want to see more variations of the 2D Metroid and game. Yeah, nope. Irritated. There are people that are justifying that it's a 2D game, so it doesn't make a difference if they do it, because that's an quote-unquote indie style game. But like, the whole game is run in 3D, for one. Two, the play style has nothing to do with whether or not the game deserves to be purchased, or if you would be allowed to freaking pirate it and run it. 3, people are complaining about the length of the game being an issue, so they don't want to pay for it. Again, people bought the Order. Well, I said this on the podcast, but people bought the Order 1886 for $60, and that is a very short game. That is mostly cutscenes. So, the correlation don't work for me. It don't. If you like Metroid, you want to enjoy Metroid, play Metroid legitimately. Purchase the damn game. You want to play Dread, purchase the game. Pay for it. Support it. Buy it. Give Nintendo more reasons to make more of it. But don't hurt the fans of the franchise. Don't hurt the franchise. Don't hurt the developers. Don't hurt the teams that worked on it for who knows how long. Just to stick it to the company because you don't like them. I mean, honestly, if you don't like them, then why would you want to pirate their shit in the first place? I don't understand that. But, like, seriously. People really need to stop this crap. It's going to hurt the industry. It's one of the main reasons the Dreamcast died. Like, and yeah, PlayStation 2 coming out, being announced, was the nail in the coffin for the Dreamcast. But the big issue for the Dreamcast was that it wasn't selling software. Because a couple people would buy the game, then they'd make copies of the game, and then sell the copies that they make to other people that had the Dreamcast, which Sega was making no money off of. So it killed the Dreamcast. For the PSP, it also hurt the PSP a lot. Because people were pirating games. I think the only platform that it didn't severely kill was the Wii. I think that's the only platform where pirating didn't severely kill it where it was rampant. That's one. That's one that survived that torrent. That people still talk trash about, but it survived it. So seriously, people, stop. Don't even consider pirating Metroid Dread. Don't. If you want to play the game on an emulator, purchase the bitch. At least purchase it. At that point, I don't even care if you download it from somewhere. If you have purchased it, purchase the game. That's all you gotta do. Purchase the damn game. Purchase it. Just purchase the game. Pay the money for it. Pay the money so that you still support the teams that put the work and effort into making the game, instead of Nintendo will say, oh, well, hey, people are interested in it. Get it to being the top grossing Metroid game. And then I don't care how you obtain the version that you play on your PC. But at least support the series. Put the money toward the series. Help the series grow. That's perfect. That, to me, that's perfectly at least acceptable. Whatever your methods for going ahead and getting the copy of the game to run on your PC, that's on you. But at least purchase the game. At least support the releases of the games. At least help it grow. At least help it be maintained. Because otherwise there will be another 10, 15 year period before we get a new 2D Metroid game. If it happens at all. But I don't want to drag this on too much more. I'm already irritated as all hell. And I just wanted to get this out. So, again, support Metroid Dread. If you're interested in it, support it. Don't sit there and pirate the game and not contribute to its success. That's it. Thank you guys very much for listening, and keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games, and peace out, everybody.